You wake up thinking history was kings, wars, and crowns, but most people lived on the bottom, doing jobs so dangerous they didn't plan for old age. These are 5 normal jobs from the past that were basically a slow death sentence, not because people were weak, but because the work was designed to break the human body. First, the Roman galley rower. Not the heroic sailor you imagine, the chained laborer below deck, rowing in darkness with barely enough air. Your day starts before sunrise because you never really slept. You sit on a hard bench, wrists raw, shoulders swollen. A drum beats the pace, and your oar becomes your entire world. Push, pull, breathe, repeat. If the ship accelerates, you accelerate. If the sea turns violent, you still row, while water slaps through cracks and the stink of sweat and vomit turns the air sour. The biggest danger isn't even battle, it's the environment. Heat builds under the deck like an oven, and dehydration hits fast. Hands blister, then split open, and salt water makes every cut feel like fire. Disease spreads because you're packed in tight, breathing the same air, sharing the same filth. And if the ship is rammed or catches fire, you don't get a chance to run because you can't. People coped by going numb. Some matched their breathing to the drum. Some stared at the wood in front of them until their minds left their bodies. The brutal fact, if you collapsed at the oar, you didn't fail. You became an obstacle, and obstacles got removed. Second, the coal miner. Not a rugged adventure, an adult worker sealed underground for hours in a world of dust and danger. Your routine is a shift that feels endless, crawling through narrow passages, swinging a pick until your arms tremble, loading carts that fight back with weight. You learn the mine by sound, dripping water, distant metal strikes, and the terrifying silence right before something collapses. The biggest danger is the air, dust that turns every breath into a slow injury. It coats your throat and lungs, and you start coughing in a way that never fully stops. Then there are the sudden killers, roof falls, gas pockets, explosions, flooding that surges through tunnels you can't outrun. People coped with routine, counting steps, sharing tobacco, telling the same jokes every day like a shield against fear. The brutal fact, even if the mine doesn't crush you, it can still take you later because the damage keeps growing long after the shift ends. Third, the plague body collector. When a city is dying, someone has to touch what everyone else refuses to touch. Your job starts at night. You walk streets that smell wrong, sweet, rotten, final. Doors are marked, windows are shut, and people watch you from behind curtains like you're a moving omen. You haul carts, knock on houses, and pull bodies out fast because there's no gentle left. You stack the dead the way you stack wood, not because you're cruel, but because time is running out. The biggest danger is infection, but there's another danger, panic. People beg you not to take their loved one. Others threaten you, accuse you, blame you. You're surrounded by grief and superstition, and you are the closest target. People coped by covering themselves in layers, soaking cloths in strong smells, working fast, drinking harder, praying louder, or shutting down emotionally just to keep moving. The brutal fact, the work didn't just risk your life, it made you socially untouchable. Even if you survived, people could treat you like you were still carrying death. Fourth, the trench runner in World War I. Not a heroic charge, more like a human message, sprinting through mud and shrapnel because the line needs information right now. Your routine is waiting for an order that can appear any second, then running because delay can kill an entire unit. You climb out of a trench with your heart hammering, and the ground outside is a flat killing zone. No cover, no mercy, just broken earth and the knowledge that someone is watching for movement. The biggest danger is randomness. A shell doesn't need to aim at you. A bullet doesn't care if you're brave. Mud grabs your boots. Rain turns the path into a slow trap. Gas hangs low. And if you fall, sometimes you can't even scream because the noise gives you away. People coped with superstition, small rituals, lucky charms, a belief that if you run fast enough, fate can't catch you. The brutal fact, you could survive a run and still lose the war inside your head because your brain never stops hearing explosions even when the world goes quiet. Fifth, the pyramid hauler. People picture pyramids like magic, perfect stones, perfect geometry, but the human reality is dragging mountains under a brutal sun. Your day starts in heat that already feels angry. You and dozens of others pull ropes until your shoulders swell and your skin tears. Your feet grind into sand and limestone dust. You drink when you're allowed, eat when you're allowed, rest when someone decides you've earned it. The stone doesn't care if you're tired. The stone only moves when your body pays for it. The biggest danger is crushing. A slip turns a rope into a whip and a block into a falling wall. Heat exhaustion can drop you silently, and once you're down, you're in the worst place possible, near tons of moving weight. Infection is constant because cuts are everywhere and dust sticks to sweat like paste. People coped with rhythm, songs, group pacing, the shared rule that you don't stop pulling just because you're hurting, because everyone is hurting. The brutal fact, the monument lasts for thousands of years, but the worker's name doesn't last a week after the job replaces him. And that's the part history doesn't show you in paintings. These jobs weren't rare disasters, they were normal work, built into systems that needed bodies the way machines need fuel. If you ever wondered how entire civilizations got built, this is one answer. Not with glory, but with adults who learned to endure pain so long it started to feel like life.